to 12 p.m. And on I'm Making It Happen, we discuss how we can make it happen in our minds, bodies, finances, business, and culture, despite the inevitable and not so pleasant challenges. And that's to ultimately allow us to realize that we have the ability to improve and maneuver every and any situation that we encounter. And I am always excited for the conversation. And guess who you have today? You have none other than Nykole Tyson, myself, with you today. And I like to connect with you at times one on one. And so this gives me the opportunity to share some of what I've been up to and just give you some positive notes or thoughts as we continue through the week. It's hump day, Wednesday, all right, to carry us through the week. And so, before we get into the details, of course, I want to say good morning to everyone, specifically in the USVI, St. Croix, St. Thomas, St. John, the British Virgin Islands. And I had a shout out for the BVI actually, because I was just there. And St. Kitts and Nevis, and anywhere you are in the Caribbean, thanks so much for tuning in, as well as all those listening live from the on reefbroadcasting.com from the East to West Coast. Good morning to you. And anywhere you are in the world, we appreciate you. And thanks for those watching live on Facebook at I'm Making It Happen. Please do like and share. And so today's topic, we're going to be talking about travel observations and, men's mental health. I think is very important. I've been thinking about it for a while and I want to share it with you, as well as turning challenges into opportunities, and we're going to be encouraging vulnerability and openness and being in action. Basically, ways to definitely make it happen, whatever your it is. All right. And so before I start, I definitely want to give a shout out to those in Tortola. Oh, can you take that? For those that's in Tortola, I was just there, and I have to give a shout out to the customs because they definitely said I must shout them out. They was really helpful at customs in Tortola, as well as Samantha Dublin and Alvin Matthew. They made it happen for me yesterday in Tortola through Cape Air. So when I told them I was going to shout them out because they definitely helped me get back earlier. So shout out to Alvin and Samantha out in Tortola. And I'm going to give you some travel observations that I was actually in Dominica. As many of you heard the, promotions for the Jazz and Creole Fest. So I attended that. It was amazing in Portsmouth, Dominica. And then I, was in Tortola briefly. Beautiful country of Dominica. I've been there, about a couple times, my third time. And it was, there's so much to see. And you can't get it all done. Like there's so much more. There's so much nature. I visited it's called a cold sofri, and we're in a crater, and in the crater, and there's water bubbling, but but the water is cold. So the water is bubbling, but it's cold. Can you imagine that? I heard of it, but to see it was amazing. And then also, let's see what was something interesting. Oh, I went to a place called Bubbling Beach. And so there is something is running down from the volcano. So they're all dormant, first of all, but it's running down. Something's running down from the volcano into the beach, a certain beach in a certain area. I can't remember the specific area of Dominica, but, we were like all over Dominica. And the beach is basically hot. The beach is basically hot. So, I mean, when you get to a certain area, you're walking. I thought I could handle it. I was hopping like crazy because it was so hot. But then when you get into the water, there's a section that's hot, gets to warm, and then cool because the beach meets this area. So that was pretty interesting. It's called the Bubbling Beach. There are so much more things like I experienced. I mean, of course, the Jazz and Creole Fest. I saw a lot of some Crucians there, so that was great. People recognized me there. So that was great. We did get to chill a bit. And there was a lot of camaraderie. So, and people from Barbados was there, and so many places, Trinidad. So it was a great event. I do encourage those to attend next year. And so, what else? I got to drink if you guys have watched my interview on TV, I did get to drink the grapefruit juice. That was what I was looking for. Oh, but there's one thing that was really amazing and something that I've never tried. It's called a jelly smoothie. So it's from the coconut jelly, and it's a smoothie. It was an almond I just have one part because I don't want to give out all the secret, but it was amazing. And only one person was doing it. So it's not like you could find it anywhere. We were just like traveling and just said, okay, we get some coconut water. And then the person was like, the person selling the coconut water said, oh, I make some smoothies too. And we're like, smoothies? What's that? With the jelly, because we were trying to buy the jelly and he didn't want to sell it. And so it was really good. So that was something new that we tried in Dominica. But overall, Dominica is beautiful. I mean, green, luscious, to me, untouched. Most of the communities are on the outskirts of the country. And so, just definitely want to shout out to Dominica. It was for the hospitality as well, and the tourism division. Okay, for Dominica. All right, and so as I want to say, good morning. We're talking about my observations or experience. I just was in Dominica, and also Tortola. Tortola is beautiful, looking great. We was just there for like a few hours, but it was definitely a great experience being in Tortola. Now, it's very challenging to travel throughout the Caribbean. All right, it was a challenge to find connections, and that's another conversation. I don't want to get into that today, but we definitely need to. And it's not just here in the USVI. It's people mentioning it throughout the Caribbean. But it's definitely something that it needs to improve, that we need better inter-Caribbean travel. All right, so one of the things I wanted to mention, which is the first thing I always I always mention this. I have spoken on this many times, and I will continue to speak on it in an area that we need to work on making it happen. So as I mentioned in my recent opportunity to travel to Dominica and Tortola, one thing that really stood out to me was how immaculate and clean these places were. And the people we were riding with, that was the first thing they mentioned. Like, oh my God, it's so clean. And it wasn't Crucians, just people. Oh my gosh, it's so clean. There's no garbage. And in my head, I'm like, wow, that is true. Coming from the airport in both areas. And then just driving throughout. And it made me think like, well, this is what I always mention. These are the first things that people look at when they come to a place, is how clean the place is. And they decide about the people. And so, I mean, there was not a speck of garbage in sight. Everywhere we went, where it was, be it the streets, the beach, or even in the towns, everything was well maintained. I can even say like they just pay attention to detail, very much attention to detail. I think which one? It was in the airport. There was somebody watering the plants early in the morning because we traveled out early yesterday morning. And I was like, they even have somebody watering the plants. I thought it were fake at first, but of course, it's Dominica. It's beautiful. Why would they have fake plants? Because a lot of the things that we purchase, or the plants that we purchase, they have them in abundance, just all over the place, right? So you can just basically pick them, and they're huge. Like they're so luscious and large. It makes me think of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, because we're so small in this huge place with these plants and these leaves that just are enormous. So yeah, it says, wow, they really pay attention to detail. And so whether it's the streets, as I mentioned, the beaches, even in the towns, it's well maintained. It was clear the residents take a lot of pride in their surroundings. And it's not just about being having a beautiful environment. It's about culture, having a culture of respect for our community. Well, their community. I'm going to get to our community. For their community and their land. And it was mentioned. I mean, people had mentioned it. And I noted what was, the conversation. And so now coming back home to St. Croix yesterday, I couldn't help but notice the stark contrast. And people say, well, how are you comparing? Yes, there you compare. Of course, you go anywhere else, you're going to say, well, how is this? How can we improve? What is the difference? What's the similarities? How, that's what it's going to be. And so you cannot, I'm can't think of the word I want to use right now, but cannot pretend that there is a differences, especially with maintenance. And it's not just the government doing this. As I mentioned before, in these countries, the people pick up the garbage, their own garbage. So they don't leave garbage across the street. Or, if they see garbage, they didn't put it there, they'll pick it up. So it was disheartening to come back home and see garbage scattered everywhere, as we've seen it. It's to me, very ridiculous. It's on the streets. We have the roadsides, especially on our beaches. But here's the thing. The abundance of garbage reflects us on all of us, not just one person. So who cares who didn't put it there? It reflects on all of us. And it speaks to how much we value and respect our environment when we don't take care of the place we call home, that we say we have VI pride, all right? And so it's not just about the trash. Again, it's a reflection on the pride we have for our own community. And so we often say we love St. Croix, But the question is, are we showing that we love St. Croix or the Virgin Islands, St. Croix, St. Thomas, St. John? I'm at St. Croix, so I see St. Croix every day. So St. Thomas, I'm not sure how you're looking, but this applies to you if you have a lot of garbage too. And so, and St. John. And so, are we showing that we love our community, right? By respecting our surroundings. It starts with each of us individually and collectively. And this is the way we make it happen, all right? It's not just about business. And I'm making it happen. It isn't about business at all alone. Making it happen is in every area of our lives. So wherever we are, we got to make it happen. Like I said, the people in Tortola made it happen for me. So they're making it happen. All right. And so making it happen is just like, can be universal in so many areas of our life. And so as I mentioned about the garbage, or, definitely we need to improve on that. The tires that I'm seeing, I mentioned this before. I don't think it's individual. I think it's companies. And if companies are putting their tires in different areas, I guess remote areas on an island or secluded areas on an island, then shame on you, because people are paying you to discard of it. And so that is a simple way to find out who's doing that. Because I traveled into East End, or in East End, and I saw a bunch of tires out there. You see them all over the place, and you're like, well, how are all these tires getting here? We have tire companies. We have companies that's supposed to discard tires. I think it's easy to investigate that, see how many of their tires they're collecting and what they're doing with it. Where are they discarding it? And so let me get back, kind of digress. So pride in our islands come from how we treat it. And don't say VI pride if you across the street from your house, there's garbage. You didn't put it there, but if you leave it there, you do not have VI pride. Okay? If you're at a business and you have garbage there across your business and you leave it there, you do not have VI pride. If you're in any area and you see garbage and you leave it, not saying, okay, like you're on the beach. Who wants to pick up the beach all the time? But if you're in an area and you have a plastic bag and you see some things around you, pick it up. Don't leave your garbage hanging on the tree either. And so all of these things, actions is what shows that you have pride in our community. And so it's very disheartening when I came home and I'm like, oh Lord, look at all this garbage. Where I just came from, 2 countries, different islands, no garbage, especially coming from the airport. I mean, there was none. And it was minimal if you saw. But overall, they really maintained the place. All right. So if we want St. Croix to be a beautiful place to live and visit, it starts with keeping it clean, not just for ourselves, but for the future generations. We all play a part in shaping the environment that we live in. And it's time we take that responsibility seriously, and not just action, not just words, right? And so as I mentioned, if you are living in a house and you have garbage or across the street or right on your lawn, outside your gate, and you're not you're picking it up, you don't have VI pride. And actually, that is part of your house. The whole island is our home. It's not just from your property to the street. It's your home. All areas of the island is our home. All right. And so I encourage us to continue to improve in that area, because that's what people are looking at when they come to our islands. The first thing is the garbage. And I've had individuals not from here. I've heard them in Miami. I've mentioned in the past when I was traveling, and I heard people were talking from a distance, ways from where I was sitting, but I could hear them speaking because they weren't whispering. And they were, coming to visit, and they were talking about how much garbage they've seen on St. Croix in the past years. And I had to, it was embarrassing. Did I even speak up? I did tell them something. I did, I can't remember what I mentioned to them, but I got their information, and they wanted to apologize. I said, there's nothing to apologize about. The truth is the truth. But there's many other positive things about the island. Obviously you're coming to St. Croix again and again and again. But it was something that, it's not something that's, not visible. So you have to address it and then see how we improve. And so people think and they talk about these things. And so it reflects on all of us. So let's, do better in that area, because I see it. It's not just in the States when I mentioned, when I went to Washington State or when I went in Colorado, how clean the places are. And those are millions of people. This is our neighboring sister islands, our other brethren in the other islands, making it happen and taking care of their areas. All right. So as I mentioned, we all play a part in shaping the environment we live in. And it's time that we take it responsible, to take it seriously. The state of our streets, beaches, neighborhoods is a reflection of who we are as a community. It's not just about cleanliness. It's about having a collective respect for the place that we call home. And so I'm gonna take a break and we get back. So that's my little um uh, introspection, observation about what I saw. We're gonna get back. We're gonna talk about men's mental health, and then also about turning challenges into opportunities. So don't go anywhere. Be right back after this short break. Welcome back. You're listening to I'm Making It Happen with entrepreneurs Nykole Tyson. And if you were with us before the break, you'll know I was talking about my observations about my recent travel to Dominica and Tortola and the cleanliness of the island. So, Dominica is over 200 square miles, 200 plus square miles. And to see that there was hardly any garbage in the areas that we were at. And we were driving distance from the top, from the north to the south, to the east to the west. We were like everywhere. And it was just amazing to see. So we don't have any excuse here on 86 square miles St. Croix. And so I encourage us to wherever you live, wherever you frequently traverse, and wherever you work. If you have a business establishment and there's garbage across the street, just pick it up. It doesn't take it. It adds, and it makes you feel good. Because when you come out, you're like, I made this happen. All right, so let's make it happen in that area. So we're going to talk about men's mental health. So I've been noticing a lot of the individuals, like it's just increasingly seeming like we have a lot more people on the street. I don't know if homeless. I don't consider them homeless because some of it I've heard have homes, right? But they have like mental disability. And so I wonder, like, why is it that it looks like mostly men? Not mostly men, but it seems like more men have like these mental disabilities or issues on the street that looks like it. And don't vouch. I don't know how to articulate right now, but from my observations, I'm like, why is there more men walking the streets and talking to themselves and stuff like that? And they seem like maybe they're not dealing with emotions. I don't know. I really can't say why, but I wanted to discuss it and give encourage men to seek help from friends, family. Talk about your feelings, and because I know there's a lot that's expected societally of men in different aspects. It's not even men said, it's not even expressed, but it's just society in most cultures, the men are supposed to be the lead, breadwinners, and just be strong, right? Emotionally, mentally, physically. That's what is expected. But how do you stay strong emotionally, physically, mentally if you're not taught how to deal with situations that come up that's unexpected, right? And that's why I always and it's not easy, but it's something that it's like a muscle. You always have to exercise it. And that's why I was saying in the beginning is that we talk about how we can make it happen despite the inevitable and not so pleasant challenges, because you're going to have challenges no matter how perfect you think you are or how great you think you are. There's going to be some challenge. There's going to be someone trying to have their own issues that cause you issues, and or just like things that just pop up, right? And so we're going to talk about with the men right now. And women, of course, we have our ways that we express ourselves. We're very vocal, expressive. If we have to cry, we cry. If we need to talk, we talk. But I'm not sure if that's how men are, right? So have the same kind of outlets as we do. And it's actually encouraged from as children, girls. If you follow, you can cry. You can bawl down the house if you fall down. But if you're a boy, get up. You're tough, right? And some people may say, "Oh, I tell my daughter to get up as well." But most times, okay, for the exception, that's fine. But usually, overall, it's boys, man up, be tough, and girls, you can be emotional, all right? For talking about cultural expectations, men are often socialized to be tough, stoic, and emotionally resilient. That may be one of the triggers. Toxic masculinity. Some societal norms around masculinity promote the idea that men must be dominant, aggressive, and in control. But a lot of times you can see from their emotional outbursts that they're not in control. Because if you have control, you're not going to be, trying to fight physically, and a lot of different things that's happened, explosive behavior or violence, right? It takes a lot to be stoic, or not stoic, but to handle your emotions, right? Not helpers. And so that may seem opposite to what many may believe, like, oh, if you start have an outburst and you're like, going out macho in the street and you're cursing, as we see some of these guys in the street, broad daylight with the guns, that is not masculinity, really. That actually shows that there's an issue mentally, that you have to take an extreme like that, and you can't handle your emotions by having a conversation or having a disagreement without taking it to extreme. And so this can lead to, so this can cause, if you're not dealing with emotions, it can cause untreated mental issues, especially if you have emotions that's unresolved. It can make you have, manifest harmful behaviors. And so these are just things I was thinking about. I looked it up, but it could just be that in regards to not dealing with situations appropriately and letting things fester, especially men not talking about things, not crying it out, not, going to the gym and working it out. And so it can fester inside. I don't know how it, transfers to the issues, but maybe just feel like giving up. I'm not sure, right? So there can also be biological factors, high-risk behaviors like substance abuse, dangerous driving, getting involved in criminal activity. These behaviors often correlate with mental health crisis. I mentioned, if you have a brain, you need to deal with your mental health. It's not taboo. We need to make it more, encourage our men and our women to, seek help, have these conversations, deal with how they're feeling. It's really important. Men tend to engage in more risky behaviors, such as I mentioned, as substance abuse, dangerous driving, criminal activity, when they don't deal with their mental health. Being able to emotionally regulate. Men are sometimes less taught to, or encouraged to properly regulate their emotions, especially anger, knowing how to deal with their anger. And this can lead to poor emotional regulation skills, resulting in violent outbursts and extreme reactions. All right, coping mechanisms. So you need to, when dealing with trauma, stress, or personal issues, men are more likely to use maladaptive coping mechanisms like I mentioned, substance abuse, showing their aggression, or even withdrawing from support systems. So these all behaviors can spiral and contribute to extreme mental health episodes, and you don't even realize it. Yeah, because it's like what is the pressure bust pipe? Of course. So if you have so much pressure inside, you're not dealing with whatever injustices that you're experiencing, real or perceived, and you're not talking it through, working through the emotion, working through the situation, talking it through, then there's going to have a reaction. Right. So it's important to note that while men exhibit more outwardly aggressive or extreme behaviors, women experience mental health challenges too, as I mentioned. And so, but they manifest differently. But they all manifest differently. And for instance, women are more likely to experience depression, anxiety, and eating disorders, which may not always present as extreme behaviors, but still are very serious mental health concerns. And so, going into that, I definitely want to encourage men to care for their mental health, and it's important. It's more important than your physical health, because mental health dictates what you do, and if your mind is not in the right place, it's going to affect everything, and from your relationships, your job, and even your physical health. Right? Is that a call?
Yes.
Oh, okay, so I'll take it. Press that. Okay, good morning. Thanks for calling. You're on the air. Huh? This?
Hear me?
I can hear you. Good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah,
Thanks.
good morning. Real quick, you were just mentioning men with mental health crisis.
Right.
I had two brothers. One passed away a couple years back. But I have
I'm sorry to hear that.
two grandsons. Thank you. He wasn't well. So we were preparing for him to pass away. when he was in the National Guard for many years, and his nickname was Cowboy because he loved horses so much.
Mhm.
But with my observation with men, society from the home in the beginning as little boys, school,
Mhm.
you name it, the neighborhood, playing, the boys playing and, rough, basketball, football, whatever, baseball, from children, from little ones, boys are taught to be rough and tough and no crying. Their friends, if they cry or whatever, show normal human emotion. Their friends would call him sissy, mommy boy, and all kind of name.
Right.
So what I observe with the male, because of they are being pressured. They have a thing they call male ego and whatnot. Yeah, they are not taught to be gentle, loving, understanding. So they grow up with this condition, macho. You gotta be a macho man and be strong,
Right.
provider, protector, and all of this, these things. So it's very hard for not all, but most men, to show human emotion now and then. And when they do, they have all kind of name, call him this, call him that. So it's very difficult from what I see. Females now, we are expected to be nurturing, gentle, loving, accepting. We can cry from morning till night.
Mm-hmm.
It's expected.
Yeah.
It's expected because that's all what we are taught. But whether it's man or woman, you're a human being. You have feelings, and I love to see a male or a young man or a boy. I love to see when they cry.
Right.
And then I will rush to their side and, you hug them, kiss them, listen to them. Everybody wants to be paid attention. Pay attention to me. This is what I am feeling. This is what I'm going through. And, you have to be patient. Have patience and listen. But maybe give a little advice, or if you can't afford it, perhaps the person might be going through a little financial situation, and you say, "Hey, I can afford this. I'll give you this to help you out," and you wipe the tears, and I'm so sorry, and I wish there was more I could do. You're a human being, not just a man or a woman. Right. Everybody have ups and downs, good days, bad days. We need to teach our little boys, you're a human being, number one. Then number two, yes, you're a male, and you can show your emotions. It's okay. Yep. It's okay to show your emotion. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And then once you take that burden off of his shoulder, he feels better, feel free. Oh, you're the anti-man and blah, blah, blah. That damn things is out of order.
It starts from home, right? And so the kids pick up what they see at home, maybe hear what they hear at home. And so it's really, so we need to talk to the parents in regards to that. Like definitely letting your boy children know it's okay to have emotions and helping direct their emotions, how to deal with it.
Right. Mm-hmm. So that way when they grow up now, I ain't saying every time you're going through something, you're crying and carrying on,
No.
but now and then you let your girlfriend, your mom and dad, your siblings, whoever, your friend, you let them know, look, I don't like what you're doing. It's not right. And so and so.
Yeah. And I find
If
that they
you-
need to also teach them how to communicate and express what's
Right.
happening with them, right? And so not just being dismissive. Because
right,
communication, then when you get older, then we want them to be expressive and communicate. How are you going to do that if they're not taught it? Now you want them to turn
Exactly.
around and be, oh, you don't talk, you don't express yourself, you're not communicative.
Right.
They weren't taught that, so.
Mm-hmm. And yet, this is another thing too. Your father, be a man
Mm-hmm.
and man up and blah, 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 and be strong and men don't cry. And I'm not saying that ignorant.
Right.
Son, come talk to me. What you're going through? Somebody bullying you? So on and so forth and whatnot. And I will give you advice. This is how to handle it. You don't have to be violent. Say, look, I'm not in that with you. I'm not going to use drugs. Pick up a gun. No, this is not me.
Well,
I'm going to talk to you as a friend because I care about you. I don't want you to end up in jail. I don't want you to end up dead, so on and so forth. As a real friend.
definitely.
Yeah.
So
But you see now, when these young men are taught or are not taught how to communicate, express their emotion, they get violent. This is where this violence come from. Violence, we call it again, domestic violence in the home with the wife or the girlfriend or the children. This is festering like an infection, festering for years, and this is all they know. Especially if they live in a violent, toxic home.
Right.
When they grow up now, they repeat the same, action.
Yeah.
Because they have an old saying, children live what they learn.
Well, of course.
Right.
How can you not think that? I mean,
Yeah.
a child grows up to indirect or direct. They're seeing and hearing what's happening in the home. That's creating their personalities. That's who they're going to be.
The first thing is home.
Mm-hmm.
The first teachers, mom and dad.
Exactly.
Sisters go to school, you go to college, you go out in the world, and this is all you know. And this is how you understand how to handle certain situations by going off. As we would say in the islands, he gone off, my son.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? Because he wasn't, groomed to be a loving, caring person. You're a human being to begin with.
And I want to add to what you're saying. I want to add to what you're saying.
You're supposed to have emotions.
Definitely. I want to ask what you're saying, then I have to take a break. But what you made me...
Thank you very much for taking my call.
Oh, no. I appreciate you.
I love you. I love to hear you.
No, I appreciate you. I'm just saying that, and I appreciate you call, so you add to the conversation.
Yes,
is that as parents, you need to look at, and people say, oh, she don't have any children, right? And I don't have any children at the moment.
I'll come off the air, okay?
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Okay, no problem. So they might say, oh, you're on the air. Thanks for calling.
Hi, good morning. This is Chanel Peterson with the Virgin Islands Water and Power Authority.
Oh, yeah, Chanel. Hold on 1 second, okay? I'm going to take a break and then come back to you. Okay. All right. I'm on the phone boards. And so, but anyway, so I was saying that, so we're going to come back to Chanel from the VI Water and Power Authority. Director of Communications wants to give an update about the outages on St. Thomas. I just want to respond to the individual that was just in line. Then we'll take a break and bring Chanel on. But we need to, parents, say, oh, she might have, Nykole, you don't have any children at the moment, right? But I was a child. I'm still a child I have my parents. And so I can speak on the matter because you don't need to have children to know how to deal with children. I think that is a farce when people say, oh, you don't have children, so you didn't know how to, no, I'm talking so, you didn't know how to, oh, you know how to deal with children. No, that's not the truth. Because if you're a child, you know how you wanted your parents to deal with you, or what you expect. And just being a person, you should know how to deal with anybody. So it's not an excuse to not know how to deal with something, because we all know how we want to be treated. And so yeah, we need to look at parents, your impact. And what's your long run? What's the long term goal for your child? How do you want them to operate and function in the world once they grow, once they leave your home? Because they're going to remember how they were treated. And you can't say, and maybe you don't remember because you were living your life and trying to take care of children, but the children are always going to remember with their every experience. And so you just have to be mindful in regards to the way you're training your children. How do you want them to be as an individual? What did you not like when you were growing up? What did you want to improve on? And then look at that. And then look at seeing about for our men with our boys, definitely encouraging the vulnerability, expressing their emotion, but how to handle it. And if you as a man or as a father don't know how to handle your emotions, and that's okay, because maybe you weren't trained, but it's not okay not to learn, because we all are important. It's all for us to learn every single day. As long as you have life and you're working to improve yourself, then that's all that matters. And so if you don't have the skills to do that, then definitely like look around, ask about it. You can research it. You can go to Google. Google has so much information. You don't have to wait, right? And so there's no excuse to say I don't know. You can look it up. And if I grew up hearing, if you don't know, you can't grow. And so if you know you don't know something, just look it up or ask somebody, and so that we can have a better future for our children in regards to them handling their emotions and ultimately being productive citizens in our communities or whatever communities that they find themselves in the future. We're going to take a break. When we get back, we're going to bring on Water and Power 30 on the line to give an update about the outages on St. Thomas. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this short break. Okay, welcome back to listening to I'm Making It Happen with Exception Years Nykole Tyson. And before the break, we are talking about men's mental health. And then we got into the conversation about children, our young boys. We're going to start with our men. It starts with as them being young boys and looking at how to train them up so that they can man up. And manning up doesn't always, which one? Oh, manning up. They can say, oh, man up. What is manning up? What does that even mean? I think manning up is we can change the definition and be like, oh, manning up is your being able to express your emotions, handling your emotions, and then making the right, positive action, taking the right positive actions to improve the situation. That's manning up, not manning up to like not cry. I think we should teach our boys a different way of manning up, because obviously it's not working in that other area, in regards to what society has deemed manning up to be. But we have Chanel on the line. She wants to give an update. Chanel, can she hear me? You're on the air. Thanks for calling.
Good morning. This is Chanel Peterson, Director of Communications at WAPA. Thank you so much for having me on the air during your show.
Thank you.
So as of yesterday, for the St. Thomas St. John district, about 6:30 a.m., we experienced a fault on one of our lines. And so our line crews have been troubleshooting, conducting maintenance, and we have also engaged with some contractors to assist as the teams worked well into the evening. And unfortunately, because of the demand on the system, we did have to instill a rotational outage schedule on the electrical system. So as of right now, from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., feeders 7C and 7B are without power. From 12 p.m. to 2 p.m., feeders 9C and 9E. From 2 p.m. to 4 p.m., portion of 10B and feeders 8B and 7E. From 4 p.m. to 6 p.m., feeders 7C and 7B. And from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., feeders 9C and 9E. We have also had some changes as we are trying to reduce the impact later on in the day. Currently, feeders 7A and 8A are still without power. So we do apologize for this inconvenience at this time.
Okay, great. I do appreciate you coming to inform the public on these outages and which the water power one, but at least you're giving an update and keeping everybody informed.
Thank you.
Did you mention like cause?
So it's caused by a fault on the transmission line. And that's what the team has been troubleshooting from yesterday. And that's what the contractors are working on right now. So this transmission line essentially provides power to the eastern portion of St. Thomas and the island of St. John. What that basically means is then all the power then is transmitted through a separate line, and to not overstrain that particular line, we have the rotation outage schedule in effect. And if customers, community wants to stay updated on any changes that may occur and or an extension of the rotational outage schedule, they can always go to our website, www.viwapa.vi, and in the top right corner, they can sign up for WAPA alerts. So they can also go into their app store or their Apple store and shop for Everbridge. And the Everbridge app, once they go on and upload that app, they can search for WAPA and they can receive updates there. And they can get that for St. Thomas, St. John, St. Croix. They can get updates for water and electric. We also send out road closure or lane closure updates there as well.
Okay, perfect. Well, thanks so much, Chanel Peterson. She's the Director of Communications for the Water and Power Authority, making sure to give an update about the power outages on St. Thomas and St. John and the rotational schedule. So we do appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thanks for keeping everybody informed. All right, have a great day.
Thank you.
Okay. Hang on. Okay, great. And so that was Chanel Peterson, Director of Communications for the Water and Power Authority. Apologizing for the, power outages on St. Thomas. However, there is a rotational schedule and making sure that St. Thomas St. John District is aware of it. All right. And so as we close out, so I didn't think, doing solo sometimes like, I'm not sure if this is going to go for the whole hour, but definitely the time has gone by so quickly. And so as I want to close out, I just wanted to reiterate about the self-care for our men in the community, making sure you're getting your physical activity, like working out, going for a run. We could go on the beach, tire yourself out, get in that water, just our beautiful seawater, or go to the gym. Also working out in regards to your emotions, talking with somebody, that you trust, expressing your emotion. If you haven't started that, I don't know how, just take the first steps, actually look up how does it processing my emotions, anger, what is that? And there's making sure you're getting your rest and eating and drinking your water. I mean, those things seem small, but it all adds to your mental health, because if you're not hydrating yourself, then your circuits are going to start firing off because you are not nourishing your body. So nervousness, anxiousness, all those kind of things is going to be things that's going to start occurring that you might think that you're upset about, but you're not really. Your body's just now shutting down in other areas, in other ways, and that affects the way that you're feeling, and then you're interacting with people, and so definitely self-care is very important. And it's very important because of how we show up for our friends, families, and even ourselves. What I wanted to mention, which I haven't gotten into today, was about turning challenges into opportunities. And I had a lengthy conversation on that. And so I will have to talk about this another time. But definitely, I do want to talk about turning challenges into opportunities. That life's constant. The only thing constant that we have in life is change. Not letting things keep you down. So I want to leave you with some positivity, implementing solutions, recognizing challenges, but, handling it powerfully, and just knowing that you're not alone, that everyone has issues, problems that come up. That's life. If you're living in life, I was told, once you're above ground, it's not going to be perfect, right? And so you just got to remind yourself, I'm alive. I'm in the living of the land of the living. And so there is going to be some kind of, challenge. But it's how you deal with it, how we deal with it. And just taking a moment. And as you know, I am not a person to like to complain about things for long. because I like to focus on what is in my control. Because when you focus on things and just complaining about what is not in your control, for me, it leaves me feel powerless. I like to focus on things that I can control and what I can do to improve and a situation for myself to make it better. So whether it's having a difficult conversation, or setting a boundary, or seeking more professional help, there are actions that are key to moving forward. And so I just want to leave you with that today. And I'll definitely expand on this conversation further in the future. There is a comment here say a lot of people don't have no one to vent to. Definitely, I do agree. Maybe, but maybe they think it's a friend they need to vent to. Maybe somebody else that they can vent to. You know, there is a helpline. I need to find the helpline for just to talk to somebody. Prayer, starting with prayer a lot. That's helpful because you can always talk to God. In regards to individuals, there are programs, there is phones. If you go online, I'm sure they could find something, right? And sometimes it might not be the people you want to vent to that is available, and there are other people that may be available. So that was a response to somebody online saying a lot of people don't have someone to vent to. Also, writing in a journal, writing it down, how you feel, that's really important. That can help. All right. So I do appreciate everyone for tuning in today. And I'm making it happen with exceptionally yours, Nykole Tyson. Is always a pleasure. I was in Tortola, and people recognized me in Tortola. And then also when I got to Dominica, and so they watched the show, they listened to the radio show, either by my voice or by my face, I was recognized. And so I definitely appreciate those who tune in to the TV show and those who listen to the radio show. And that you do, and it means a lot to me because it matters to me because I hope that what I talk about resonates and that it makes your day better. It helps you to take actions where you can make it happen. And so it means a lot when you do say hi. And I appreciate everyone that I met on my travels. And so we'll be back again on next week, Wednesday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. on I'm Making It Happen on 103.5 FM. Like I said, with exception yours, Nykole Tyson. I definitely want to give a shout out, of course, to Carlos Furniture, the number one furniture store in the USVI, St. Croix, St. Thomas, St. John. And they're located in Petersburg, St. Croix, and to do Park Mall, St. Thomas, open 7 days a week. They have all your bedroom, living room, kitchen appliances, furniture, as well as your decorative items, as well as Quality Auto Parts is also open 7 days a week. And they're located near Sunny Isles. They're also open 7 days a week. Yeah, and they're open 8 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturdays, and open Sundays 8 to 12. All right. And you can call them at 340-778-5462. And as I always say, have an amazing rest of the day and the week. We'll connect again on next week, Wednesday, from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. If you don't see something happening, create it. Be the change. And until next time, keep thinking outside the box, coloring outside the lines. And remember, it's about you, me, we. So make it happen.